My grandmother's rule about knocking back? My grandmother raised me in a house at the end of Maple Road where the pavement turned to gravel and the streetlights gave up. She had a lot of rules: no whistling after dark, no mirrors facing the bed, and the one she made me repeat every night before sleep: if something knocks 3 times, you knock twice back, never 3. I was 7 when I first asked why. She was braiding my hair on the porch, her fingers quick and practiced. The sun was setting orange through the pine trees. 2 means you heard it, but the answer is no. Permission for what? She tied off the braid with a rubber band. To be let in properly. To be invited. You knock twice, you're being polite. You're acknowledging. But you're not saying yes. What if I knock 3 times back? Her hands went still on my shoulders. Then you said yes to something you don't understand. And you can't take it back. I followed the rule because she was serious about it in a way she wasn't serious about much else. She let me eat cookie before the year. She let me out my. But the knocking rule was absolute. Years passed. I grew up. Grandmother's health declined in the way it does, slowly and then all at once. By the time I was 23, she was in a care facility, and the house was mine. I'd moved back in after college, partly to save money, partly because the place felt too empty without her. I'd mostly forgotten about the knocking rule. It had been years since anything knocked at all, really. We didn't get solicitors that far out. No neighbors close enough to borrow sugar. Then can what one? I was washing dishes. It was just past 10. The knock was loud enough to make me jump, and I dropped a plate into the soapy water. I dried my hands and walked to the door. Looked through the peephole. Nothing. Just the empty porch and the dark driveway beyond. Probably kids, I thought. Halloween was 2 weeks away. Maybe they were starting early. I turned to go back to the kitchen. Then I remembered. 3 knocks, my grandmother's voice in my head, patient and firm. You knocked, tight. But my hand was already moving, my knuckles already rapping against the inside of the door. Twice, 2 clean knocks. I waited. Nothing happened. I went back to the dishes. The next night, it happened again. Same time. 3 knocks, sharp and evenly spaced. I was reading on the couch. I got up, checked the peephole. Nothing. I knocked twice on the inside of the door, went back to my book. 3rd night, same thing. 3 knocks at 10:10, nothing outside. I knocked twice to 9. I knocked twice. That the house outside. I sat in the armchair facing the door with all the lights off, curtains open just enough to see the porch. At 10:10, I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming up the porch steps. Then 3 knocks. Loud, deliberate. I could see the door. No shadow blocking the peephole. No shape outside the window. But I'd heard the footsteps. I'd heard the boards creak. I stood up and moved to the door, pressed my ear against it. I could hear breathing on the other side. Slow and steady. Whose day? It had knocked back. It was following the rule. I stepped away from the door. My grandmother had never told me what to do if something knocked back. She'd only said what I should do. 2 knocks. Never 3. I knocked twice again. My hand was shaking. Silence, then footsteps retreating. Down the porch steps. Across the gravel, fading into the dark. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the armchair with every light in the house on, waiting for dawn. The next day, I drove to the care facility. My grandmother with a visit she looked small in the big chair. Smaller than I remembered. Grandma, I said, something's been knocking at the house? She turned to look at me. Her eyes were still sharp. 3 times? Yes. And you knocked twice back? Yes. But last night it knocked twice after I did. It knocked back, Grandma. She nodded slowly. That means it's learning. It's been watching long enough to understand. Understand what? That you're polite. That you follow the rules. It's testing you, Mao. Insbet now. It's his teed fall it so. Something that wants inside. It's been at that house since before I was born. My grandmother taught me the rule. Her grandmother taught her. We've all heard it knock. Why doesn't it just come in? Because it can't. Not unless you let it. That's the way these things work. They need permission, an invitation. 3 knocks returned means yes, come in, you're welcome here. What happens if I don't answer at all? Then it knows you're afraid, and it will try harder. It will find other woes. They'd recals to what type. It's a boundary. I drove home as the sun was setting. I checked every lock twice. I kept the lights on. At 10 past 10, the knocks came. 3 of them, harder than before. The door rattled in its frame. I knocked twice back, waited. 3 knocks again, immediate, insistent. I knocked twice. This went on for 5 minutes. It would knock 3 times. I would knock twice, over and over, like a conversation in a language I didn't fully speak. Then it stopped. I heard footsteps circling the house, around a route. I walked through the dark kitchen and knocked twice on the back door. The footsteps moved to the side window. 3 taps on the glass. I knocked twice on the wall beside it. It was testing every entry point, every window, every door, and I followed it through the house, knocking twice at each one. My knuckles were getting sore. My heart with hammering. Finally, it stopped. The house went quiet. I stood in the living room, breathing hard, listening. Then I heard my grandmother's voice. Not in my head, out loud. From the front, Keats. Hi. My grandmother was in the care facility. I'd just seen her hours ago. Please, the voice said. I don't want to be out here alone. 3 knocks, soft this time, almost apologetic. I walked to the door, looked through the peephole. I could see her, my grandmother, standing on the porch in her nightgown. Her hair loose around her shoulders. She looked exactly as she had when I was a child. Let me in, she said. You know me. I taught you better than to leave me out in the cold. My hand went to the deadbolt. She looked like she yacht. I'd seen my grandmother today. She was old. Her hair was white and thin. She couldn't walk without help. This thing on the porch looked like she had 20 years ago. Before time had worn her down, I knocked twice on the door. Hard. The face in the peephole changed. Just for a second. The features shifted. The eyes went dark and wrong. The mouth opened too wide. Then it was my grandmother again. But she wasn't smiling anymore. That's a mistake, she said quiet. She turned and walked without thought. She didn't disappear. She just walked into the trees and was gone. I called the care facility, asked them to check on my grandmother. The night nurse said she was asleep in her room. She'd been there all evening. I didn't hear the knocking for a week after that. I started to think maybe it was over. Maybe I'd passed the test. Then last night I heard 3 knocks. Not on the door, on my bedroom wall. From inside the house, I sat up in bed. The knocks came again. 3 of them. From the wall beside our bed, then 3 for the dimming per heap. It was inside. I knocked twice on the wall, then twice on the closet door, then twice on the headboard toward the ceiling. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely make the sound. The knocking stopped. I heard footsteps in the hallway, slow, heavy, coming toward my room. My door was open just a crack. I watched the darkness in the hallway, waiting for something to appear. Then I heard my own voice, coming from the hallway, speaking to itself. 2 knocks, it said. Never 3. Never 3. Oral, in my voice, like it was trying to memorize it, trying to understand. I pulled the covers up to my chin and knocked twice on the headboard. The footsteps stopped. The voice stopped. Silence. Then 3 knocks on my bedroom door. Soft, almost gentle. I knocked twice on the headboard again. I'm still knocking. Every time it knocks 3 times, I knock twice. I've been doing this for hours. My knuckles are bleeding. The sun should be up soon. I don't know what happens when I get too tired to answer. I don't answer out. And now I want to know how that happened. I know it's kept something out for generations. And I know that as long as I follow it, as long as I knock twice, I'm saying no. I just hope that's enough. Drop your verdict in the comments. Wait, what?